Hello, ladies, gentlemen. We are here, Act 3, Scene 1. This is a very important scene that we're about to read. Of course, we know Julius Caesar is about to get assassinated by a group of conspirators, one of whom is his best friend, Brutus, or one of his best friends. And in fact, his line, very famous, if you haven't heard it before, and I bet you have, you just didn't know it because you hadn't read the play before, but now that you know this play, you will hear this line again, television shows, on Jeopardy, all over the place. The last thing that Caesar says to Brutus is, "Et tu, Brutus," and you too, Brutus. Like, you're one of them. He can understand that these guys are going to do that to him because they're evil. But you, Brutus, you. The question is, remember, we knew that this was going to happen. The question is, what happens afterwards? Now, remember, Brutus refused the killing of Mark Antony afterwards. So they're going to have to get Mark Antony away. And then afterwards, after it happens, what is Mark Antony going to do? Is he going to freak out right there? Is he going to, leave and get an army, something like that? We're going to have to wait and see what he chooses to do. So the rest of the play is going to become what happens to our conspirators afterwards. Do the Roman people back them up? If they do, then they're going to be praised. They're going to be heroes. But it could be the opposite for them. So it all depends on what they do and how the crowd reacts to it. But also what Antony does as well. So let's go, everybody. Act 3, Scene 1. Flourish. Enter Caesar, Antony, Lepidus, Brutus, Cassius, Casca, Decius, Metellus, Trebonius, Cinna, Publius, Popilius, Artemidorus, the soothsayer, and other senators and petitioners. Now remember, Caesar is still actually on his walk to the capital right now, and do not forget, Artemidorus is standing there, and he has a letter for him, which tells him exactly what is going to happen. Watch how the conspirators keep him from getting this letter. It's interesting because if imagine this is Caesar we're talking about, he's Mr. Pride. If you were to say to him, hey, don't read that, Caesar's going to be like, don't read that. Give me that letter right now. So you almost have to do it kind of different from that. And how do you get someone like Caesar not to read a letter? One idea is exactly what's about to happen is offer him more than one. Make him do several. And he's going to be like, I'll get out of here. I'll do that another time. Watch, Caesar. The Ides of March are come. Soothsayer, I, Caesar, but not gone. Artemidorus, hail, Caesar, read this schedule. Decius, Trebonius doth desire you to overread at your best leisure this, his humble suit. So at the minute that Artemidorus holds up his letter to say, Caesar, please read this. And if Caesar reads it, everything's off, right? Who knows what's going to happen then? Instead, Decius holds up his own and goes, hold on. Trebonius, you said you'd do his first. Artemidorus says, oh, Caesar, read mine first, for mine's a suit that touches Caesar nearer. Read it, great Caesar. And Caesar says, what touches us ourself shall be last served. And Artemidorus says, delay not, Caesar, read it instantly. And Caesar says, what, is this fellow mad? Like, dude, I told you I'm going to read it later. Leave me alone. And Publius says, sir, give place. And they push Artemidorus and his note out of the way. Cassius, what? Urge your petition in the street? Come to the Capitol. Caesar goes forward, the rest following. Okay, Popilius to Cassius. Now, this is interesting. Popilius is not one of the conspirators, but he goes up to Cassius on the side and he says to him, I wish your enterprise today may thrive, which means two things. One, Popilius is down with the conspiracy. He must have been a Pompey guy. Two, more importantly, it tells Cassius that everybody out there knows that the word is out on the street. One of the only people who doesn't seem to know is Caesar. Also Antony as well. I mean, we have Artemidorus knows it. Even Portia back at home knows something weird is going on, right? So how does Cassius react to this guy saying, dude, good luck today? He says, what enterprise, Popilius? Oh, so he plays dumb. And Popilius says, fare you well, and he walks away. So Brutus goes over and he says, because Brutus sees Cassius and Popilius saying, and Brutus is nervous. He's like, what was he talking about? So he says, what said Popilius Lena? And Cassius says, I wished today our enterprise might thrive. I fear our purpose is discovered. And Brutus says, look how he makes to Caesar. Mark him. So this is interesting. Now he goes over and he starts talking to Caesar, and Brutus says, oh no, watch him. So now Cassius says, Casca, be sudden, for we fear prevention. In other words, holy crap, is he over there telling Caesar that we're here trying to kill him? Now the answer, the clue to us that he's probably not is, remember what he said to Cassius. He said, I wish your enterprise might thrive. Good luck. So I think he's just over there saying some nonsense to Caesar. Let's see. If this be known, Cassius or Caesar never shall turn back, for I will slay myself. Brutus, Cassius, be constant. Popilius Lenus speaks not of our purposes, for look, he smiles, and Caesar doth not change. And Brutus says, it's all good. Look, Popilius Lenus is over there talking to Caesar, but he's smiling, and Caesar doesn't look angry. Cassius says, Trebonius knows his time, for look you, Brutus, he draws Mark Antony out of the way. Trebonius and Antony exit. Okay, this is really important. Cassius says, listen carefully. Trebonius knows his time, for look you, Brutus, he draws Mark Antony out of the way. So that was the plan, was Trebonius is going to get Antony out of the way. So Trebonius is not one of the people stabbing Caesar. He's the one keeping Antony away from it, right? So Antony can't stop it or help Caesar. I just want to point out one thing. Later on, if you're Antony, you are going to be mad at the guys who killed Caesar, but I bet you he's going to be most mad at the guy who kept you away from it. Trebonius better watch his back. That's all I'm saying. All right, let's continue. Trebonius and Antony exit. Decius, where is Metellus Cimber? Let him go and presently prefer his suit to Caesar. Okay, so look at this. They even have a plan to get close to Caesar, because Caesar, he's going to get a little uncomfortable when he sees 10 of his enemies or 8 of his enemies kind of getting close up around him. Right? Notice the plan. It's actually pretty smart. How they do this is very smart. Metellus Cimber is going to go up and he is going to get on, he's going to ask Caesar. He's going to beg Caesar, please let the banished, I forget who it is he's going to ask. We'll see in a moment. Let my banished friend come back into the country. And Caesar is going to go, no. I'm not letting your banished friend back into the country. That was my ruling, and that's the way it's going to stay. And then he's going to get down on his knees, Metellus, and he's going to go, please, please, oh, please, Caesar, let my friend back in. Now, 2 points. One, he doesn't care if Caesar says yes or no to this. He knows he's going to stab Caesar very soon, right? So it's just it's a fake question so he can get very close to Caesar. But look how smart they get. Then Brutus is going to come up and get down and say, oh, come on, Caesar, please let his friend come back in. And Caesar's going to look at him and go, no, man. And while Caesar is paying attention to these 2 guys on their knees before him, that is going to give the rest of them the chance, Casca, Cinna, to come up behind Caesar and stab him in the back, the ultimate backstabbers. So please, let's pay attention to this. This is very well done. Decius, where's Metellus Cimber? Let him go and presently prefer his suit to Caesar. Brutus, he is addressed. Press near and second him. Casca, you are the first that rears your hand. So, all right, everybody, Casca is the planned person to get him first in the back when Caesar's not looking. Caesar, are we all ready? What is now amiss that Caesar and his Senate must redress? Okay, Metellus kneeling. So Metellus goes right down before him, and we know what he's going to ask. Most high, most mighty, and most puissant Caesar, Metellus Cimber throws before thy seat a humble heart. Caesar, I must prevent thee, Cimber. These couching and these lowly courtesies might fire the blood of ordinary men and turn preordinance and first decree into the law of children. Basically, the first thing Caesar says to him, he's not saying no yet. He's saying, dude, you don't have to get down on your knees. That might make getting on your knees before me might make some people think that, like you really love them or something. But I know you're just groveling. I know you're, come on, get up, buddy. He says, be not fond to think that Caesar bears such rebel blood that will be thawed from the true quality with that which melteth fools. I mean, sweet words, low crooked curtsies, and base spaniel fawning. In other words, dude, you can get on your knees all you want. I'm still not going to help you. Listen, thy brother, it's his brother, it's Metellus' brother. Thy brother by decree is banished. If thou dost bend and pray and fawn for him, I spurn thee like a cur out of my way. He goes, dude, I'm telling you once and for all, your brother's banished. He's not allowed back in my country. And if you beg like a dog, I'm going to get more mad at you too. He says, no, Caesar doth not wrong, nor without cause will he be satisfied. And Metellus said, is there no voice more worthy than mine own to sound more sweetly in great Caesar's ear for the repealing of my banished brother? And that's Brutus's cue. Metellus goes, is there nobody else who could beg you? And then Brutus gets down on his knees before Caesar, and he says, I kiss thy hand, but not in flattery, Caesar, desiring thee that Publius Cimber may have an immediate freedom of repeal. And he says, oh, come on, please. And he actually kisses Caesar's hand. The man, and this, by the way, Caesar trusts Brutus. So he's letting Brutus kiss his hand. This is his boy. They've grown up together. While this is happening, who's coming up behind Caesar? Watch. What? Brutus? Cassius now kneels in front of him. Pardon, Caesar. Caesar, pardon. As low as thy foot doth Cassius fall, to beg enfranchisement for Publius Cimber. So now he's got 3 men kneeling in front of him, begging for this guy to come in. And look at Caesar's answer. He says, I love Caesar. He says, I could well be moved if I were as you. If I could pray to move, prayers would move me. But I am as constant as the northern star, of whose true fixed and resting quality there is no fellow in the firmament. He's like, listen, guys, I'm not going to change my mind. I'm like that big star up there that never moves. Yeah, I don't move. I don't budge. No. There is no fellow in the firmament. The skies are painted with unnumbered sparks. They are all fire, and every one doth shine. But there is but one, and all doth hold his place. And he's pointing out that the other stars move around and whatnot based upon the seasons and whatnot. But that northern star, boy, that never moves. And that northern star is me. It is Caesar. And the answer to your brother is no. And men are flesh and blood and apprehensive. Yet in the number I do know but one, that unassailable hold on to his rank, unshaked of motion, and that I am he. Let me a little show it, even in this, that I was constant Cimber should be banished, and constant do remain to keep him so. Cinna kneeling, O Caesar, hence, wilt thou lift up Olympus? Look at this, he's got 4, Brutus, Trebonius, Brutus, Metellus, Cassius, and now Cinna gets down. So there's 4 men kneeling in front of him. And he goes, oh, will you lift up? Like, are you guys going down there trying to lift up a mountain? Get up. Decius kneeling. So that's 5 people in front of him. Great Caesar, doth not Brutus bootless kneel? And then Casca screams, speak, hands for me. As Casca strike, the others rise up and stab Caesar. So Casca strikes him first in the back. Caesar's like, oh, and then they all get up and they start stabbing him. And Caesar says one thing, et tu, Brute, then falls Caesar. And Caesar dies. And remember that et tu, Brute is you too, Brutus. Like, that's what kills Caesar the most, is that his best friend would do it. Now that is going to bother Brutus. You'll see. Wait and see. Okay, so Caesar's dead. What are they going to do? Now remember, they said, don't look like butchers, or at least Brutus said that. But remember Calpurnia's dream that Caesar would spout blood in all these different spots? Well, that's happening now because he's been stabbed 23 times, right? And now watch what these murderers do. Cinna. Liberty, freedom, tyranny is dead. Run hence, proclaim, cry it about the streets. So Cinna's all like excited about what he did, and he thinks he just saved Rome. He really believes this. And he is now going to run around the streets and scream to everybody, we killed Caesar, we killed Caesar. In fact, look, Cassius says some to the common pulpits and cry out, liberty, freedom, and enfranchisement. So listen, remember in Rome, there's no news, there's no internet. What they had was common pulpits, which is every few blocks they would have squares, right? A public square. And in that square, they would have a pulpit, which is like a lectern where someone would speak and people would listen. They would actually have town criers, right? And the town crier would go out and he would give the news. Cassius just said, guys, everybody run around, go to the podiums and tell everybody what we did. Brutus, people and senators. Now think about this. Well, let's look at what Brutus says first. It's very important. Brutus yells, people and senators, be not affrighted, fly not, stand still. Ambition's debt is paid. Think about what's going on right now, guys and gals. In this Senate House of 300 senators, and there's probably still a lot of other people, not just senators. There's got to be a bunch of commoners there, even if they're just the guys selling peanuts and whatnot. They're all running around now screaming and yelling, oh my God, murder, murder. I mean, think about it. If you saw 10 guys jump up and butcher somebody in the middle of a large play, a theater that you were in or wherever you were, you would run screaming too. So everybody's running screaming, and Brutus is standing there and he's got his bloody dagger and there's blood all over him, I'm sure, because blood flies when you're stabbing people, right? He's standing there all bloody and butchery, and he's telling people, calm down. Everything's fine. Now, of course, everything's not fine. Brutus doesn't see it yet, but the people around him, the plebeians who are running for their lives, do. Listen, Casca, go to the pulpit, Brutus, Decius, and Cassius too. Brutus, where's Publius? Here, quite confounded with this mutiny. Metellus, stand fast together, lest some friend of Caesar's should chance. All right, so Metellus says, dude, we should stick together in case Caesar's boys come up and you want to fight. And Brutus says, talk not of standing. Publius, good cheer. There is no harm intended to your person. There is nor to no Roman else. So tell them, Publius. And Brutus says, well, there's no more fighting. It's done. This is it. We're all over. And Cassius says, and leave us, Publius, lest that the people rushing onto us should do your age some mischief. And Brutus says, do so, and let no man abide this deed but we the doers. All but the conspirators exit. Enter Trebonius. Cassius, where is Antony? Trebonius fled to his house amazed. Men, wives, and children stare, cry out, and run as if it were doomsday. So this is interesting. Trebonius comes back. Remember, he took Antony away so they could do this evil deed. And Cassius says, dude, where's Antony? I figured he'd be here, like freaking out at us, yelling at us, possibly coming at us with his swords. And he goes, oh no, he ran home amazed. And I don't think he means amazed like, I think he means amazed like freaking out angry. So Antony is now gone. Now, remember what Brutus said. Antony won't care about it. It's not such a big deal. I'm not going to do anything about it. Oh, guys, gals, it's quite the opposite. And oh, by the way, another thing that Trebonius just said, men, wives, and children stare, cry out, and run as if it were doomsday. Guys, what's doomsday? That's the last day of the world. That's the end of the world. That's like the meteors falling, the world is ending. And if that happened, people would be going kind of crazy, running around the streets, screaming for their lives. That's what's happening right now in Rome. That's how freaked out everybody is because they killed Caesar. So they better get to the pulpit and explain to the people why they did what they did. Listen, here we go. Brutus, fates, we will know your pleasures. That we shall die we know. 'Tis but the time, and drawing days out that men stand upon. Now Brutus is interesting. Brutus is talking about the time of people's death. Is he talking of his own? Is he talking of Caesar's? Not sure. Let's go. Casca. Oh, I know what's going on. Casca says, why? He that cuts off 20 years of life cuts off so many years of fearing death. Did you hear what these two knuckleheads are saying, Brutus and Casca? We did Caesar a favor by killing him. Why? Now he doesn't have to worry about dying anymore. How nice of us to take that worry off of Caesar. And the irony is, do you remember Caesar? Caesar didn't worry about dying. Just pointing out, Brutus. Grant that. And then death is a benefit. So we are Caesar's friends that have abridged his time of fearing death. Now, why, ladies and gentlemen, would you try to convince yourself that killing this dude, this guy, was a good thing for him? Why? Because they know deep down that what they did was wrong. But look at what Brutus does. Here is another major mistake that Brutus is in. But remember, Brutus hasn't slept in a couple of days. Brutus isn't really eating anymore. And Brutus is not making good decisions. Look at this major mistake that Brutus is making. By the way, it's going against his own advice from earlier in the play. Listen, he says, stoop, Romans, stoop. And let us bathe our hands in Caesar's blood up to the elbows and besmear our swords. Then walk we forth even to the marketplace, and waving our red weapons over our heads, let's all cry peace, freedom, and liberty. Okay, OMG. He just said everybody, because you got to figure there's like a giant pool of blood that's getting bigger and bigger as they're standing here next to the the dead Caesar. He says, let's all dip our arms and hands into the blood and even our swords so that we're blood red all over. And let's run around the street screaming, yes, we did it. Liberty, freedom, freedom. The irony is that's going to look exactly what Brutus said they shouldn't look like they're butchers and they're enjoying what they're doing. Listen, Cassius says, stoop then and wash. They smeared their hands and swords with Caesar's blood. Listen to what Cassius says. It's a very funny thing that William Shakespeare wrote in this scene. He says, how many ages hence shall this our lofty scene be acted over in states unborn and accents unknown? OMG, here we are over in a country that wasn't even formed back when this was written in 1600 and whatever. And now I'm in America and we are acting out this scene. I'm just saying, Brutus says, how many times shall Caesar bleed in sport? Now lay on Pompey's bases, lies along no worthier than the dust. See, these knuckleheads are thinking as they're doing this, as they're dipping their arms and hands and swords and knives in Caesar's blood, they're going, wow, people are going to be talking about this for centuries, maybe even thousands of years ahead of time. And they're going to say those guys, those heroes killed Caesar. Now, they are right about one thing. They are going to be remembered, but they are going to remember this is an infamous thing that they will be remembered for, not a famous. They are not famous, they are infamous. And remember, of course, infamous is being remembered for something bad and famous is something good. These guys are going to be knuckleheads. Listen, Brutus. I'm sorry, Cassius. So oft as that shall be, so oft that the not of us shall be called the men that gave their country liberty. So they're like clapping each other on the back. Woo, we're the best. And Decius says, what, shall we go forth? And Cassius says, aye, every man away. Brutus shall leave, and we will grace his heels with the boldest and best hearts of Rome. But before they go to start showing the people their bloody arms and, talking about how great they are, here comes a servant. And Brutus says, soft. Who's that? Oh, that's a friend of Antony's. And Brutus knows that's Antony's servant. Now, Antony is proving to be wildly smart. Antony does not show up among these 7 guys who are all covered in blood and all bloodthirsty, right? If Antony does, even though he's a really awesome warrior, these 7 guys would surround him and kill him probably. So Antony sends a servant, and he has that servant ask Brutus if Antony can come and have safe haven. Now, remember, normally you wouldn't trust people, especially people who just murdered people, but Brutus doesn't lie ever. So if Brutus vouches for your safety, you can be pretty sure you're going to be safe. So listen, very smart of Antony to send the servant, he says. Thus, Brutus, did my master bid me kneel. Thus did Mark Antony bid me fall down. And being prostrate, thus he bade me say, Brutus is noble, wise, valiant, and honest. Caesar was mighty, bold, royal, and loving. Say I love Brutus and I honor him. Say I feared Caesar, honored him, and loved him. If Brutus will vouchsafe that Antony may safely come to him and be resolved how Caesar deserved to lie in death, Mark Antony shall not love Caesar dead so well as Brutus living, but will follow the fortunes and affairs of noble Brutus through the hazards of this untrod state with all true faith. So says my master Antony. Did you hear what the servant just said? Will you, Brutus, allow Antony to come in here, and will you tell him why you killed Caesar? And if he agrees that why you killed Caesar was a good reason, he'll work for you and with you. And Brutus says, thy master is wise and valiant Roman. I never thought him worse. Tell him, so please him come unto this place. He shall be satisfied, and by my honor depart untouched. And Brutus says, yeah, send Antony in there. I'll talk to Antony. And the servant says, I'll fetch him presently. And the servant exits. Okay. OMG. Brutus has made some wicked mistakes. Allowing Antony to now come in and telling him and everybody, I won't kill you. I'm just going to talk to you. That might be a mistake. It might not be. But oh my gosh, look at what Brutus says as he walks over to Cassius. I know that we shall have him well to friend. So he walks over to Cassius and he's like, Antony's going to be our boy. Does anybody believe that Antony's going to want to be these guys' friends? Especially when he walks up and he sees his dead buddy down there. And they didn't just kill him. They slaughtered him. They stabbed him 23 times. And it shows that they slaughtered him. Why and how? Because they're all standing there covered and dripping in his blood. Not just what the stabbing blood. It's going to be clear that they bathed in his blood. Bathed in his blood, I say. So Antony is not going to want to be your friend, Brutus. But why is Brutus saying this? I think it's because he wants it to be true. Some people, they want things to be true so bad, they'll believe them. Listen, let's see if he continues to. And by the way, how does Cassius react to this? Cassius says, I wish me way. I wish we may. But yet I have a mind that fears him much, and my misgivings still fall surely to the purpose. And Cassius says, I don't think so. Enter Antony. Hold on, let me check. What line am I reading to? 162. I'm done. That's a perfect time to stop. So, ladies and gentlemen, they have killed Caesar. They have bathed in his blood. All of them are bathed in his blood. The people of Rome are freaking out, running around. Antony smartly got Brutus's vouchsafe. In other words, he has his permission to come and talk to them all. He gets to come look at Caesar. He gets to come see all the guys who did it, and none of them can hurt him right now. Right? Then he can leave and decide what he wants to do. But hold on. Wait and see what Antony asks of Brutus. Cassius is going to say, no, man, you can't let him do this. Either of the two things that he asks. And Brutus, because Brutus is a knucklehead, is going to say, let's let him do it. I trust him. He'll be our buddy. Ladies and gentlemen, that's for tomorrow. Have a great day. Thank you very much.